Acolyte star Amandla Stenberg released what could only be described as officially the cringiest video to ever grace the internet. And with it, not only did it feature the Stenberg Shuffle, this is my dance while I'm in black and white, I can't sing so I'm gonna whisper, but it also featured very choice lyrics. Let's break down the victimhood and the Marxism here on T3PO.
The news of the day, Star Wars The Acolyte actress Amandla Stenberg claims to be victim of racism, releases cringe song on Juneteenth to virtue signal. This by John Trent of That Park Place. And I'm going to recommend you all go and read everything that John has said about this. He has collected the entire argument. Look at this fashion plate here. She's obviously informed somehow by Star Wars, but she's also informed by some other things as well. Let's get, have you read the song? Show of hands, aye or yay or nay. Have you actually heard this little diatribe today?
I watched it. I have no hands. And if I did, I'd be putting them over her mouth.
It's very simply shot. It's black and white. And she calls for choreography. And I'm going to say if that's what counts as choreography, I can do choreography. I learned that today. That's some amazing stuff right there.
She looked like she was having a seizure.
Yeah, if your background dancers did that kind of choreography, I think you might leave them out the door. So Amandla Stenberg, star of The Acolyte, working without a script, as far as I can tell. Although the performance might be a little bit better if they actually did throw away the script. She releases this rant. Can someone characterize this for the audience who haven't seen it?
It basically says, how dare all you people actually disagree with us? And if you do, you're an evil racist SOB. I think that sums it up.
I think that's about right. And that's obviously softer language than she used.
Oh, of course.
And I'm not.
Well, it's not authentic unless it has a few F words in it. You know.
That's true. I was told that in some video when I said I don't curse. They said, "Well, you're not honest unless you're cursing." Let's get into this here. Here are the lyrics. They're I'm going to say a PG version of the lyrics here. Remember when we did that analysis of Wish? And we talked about the lyrics of Wish and how they compared to the great classics of Disney in the past. The star of Disney's latest show, well, she's going viral on Twitter again. Open up the news to find some interesting things. 20 million views, interview from 2018 with Trevor the King when I was a teen. She's rhymed teen with teen, so congrats on that one.
This is obviously 20 when she did the interview.
It's very true. She looks like a teenager, which is, of course, why she keeps getting work with all of the people that appreciate people who look young. I was running from city to city to speak on a story. You know the one. Police ending a black boy. My people cried in theater, finding release. White people cried when they see us as human beings. This is a reference to The Hate U Give. Anybody have a summary on what the inciting incident of The Hate U Give is?
From what I understand, there is a police pulls over these two kids after leaving a party late at night, and the driver is with Amandla Stenberg's character, and I guess he's like going to get a comb or something out of his car, and the police officer thinks he's going to get a gun and shoots him.
Yeah. The police officer tells him to put his hands on the vehicle, and instead he puts his hands in the vehicle to reach for something. I'm not going to comment on anything as far as all of that. You can all take your own conclusions, what you will.
It's also a fictional movie, so as far as I'm concerned, like the whole thing is created as propaganda, and we saw what it led to in 2020.
Right. Even the fictionalized version is like, well, why didn't you just not reach your hands into the vehicle when the police officer told you not to do that? Again, fictional incident, and this is what she's talking about. And she's talking about how much this moved people. I don't know. I'm going to say that's maybe what her press people told her. This is mostly a movie that just kind of moved on from the popular zeitgeist.
It never was in it. But anyways, the clip that she's talking about was from End Wokeness, the Twitter clip that went viral, where she basically says, like, the goal of the film is to make white people cry. And even if you want to, like, I will agree that I think that was obviously taken out of context. The implication when it was posted was to make it seem like she was talking about The Acolyte. But even if you do look at the original interview with Trevor Noah, the whole point is to, like, emotionally manipulate people to, like, buy into the narrative that they're selling, that the police are somehow prejudiced against black people.
If you're an actor and your job is not just to read words, but to give them interpretation that instills a certain feeling about those words in your audience, if she had been saying in that interview, well, what I really wanted to do was make people who wouldn't have otherwise thought about this issue sad and cry that an innocent person was hurt this way and see what they could do to make it happen less. Swell. Absolutely. No problem. But when you do it with this sick little smile, well, what I really wanted to do was make all you white people cry because isn't that clever of me? Suddenly context matters, and suddenly her performing occupation matters. And it is not all in the eye of the beholder, gang. It's in the presentation of the enactor.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Lou. This section right here, Trevor asked what I want the people to know. I said white people crying was the goal. If they could take one thing, what would it be? I say empathy. No, that's really not what's in that clip. And we didn't take it out of context. There are a lot of people who took it out of context saying that she was promoting The Acolyte, even though Trevor Noah has not been on the air while The Acolyte has been promoted. She obviously was laughing at the entire idea, and the audience cheered.
Was encouraged to cheer. Was encouraged to cheer.
Exactly. The entire point of that was to say, ooh, we're going to score points. We're going to make white people cry. All right.
Then the next line here, ooh, that's why they mad at me. Not they are upset with me or they
make
are
white people
angry.
cry. But
yeah.
And they splice lines. They make
people had to see it
recognize.
first.
They splice lines. Would that be threads by any chance that they're splicing?
Make
Forceful
it look like
ones?
the same propaganda they spew because they conflate our pain with violence. No, I conflate violence with violence. Unless this is, and hey, spoiler alert, I really think this is Marxist rhetoric right here, where they're actually talking about the violence that has been done on cities with rioting and things like that as pain. No, that's an expression of pain as opposed to
it's a reaction.
actual, yeah.
Yeah, and how they're really going to make white people have pain is by using the money they donate and buy fancy houses in Brentwood with it.
That's right. Of course, the big joke of BLM is that it didn't stand for Black Lives Matter. It stood for Buy Large Mansions. Where were we in this Shakespeare?
Desperation of oppressors.
Played our pain. Try to weaponize
because they conflate our and the desperation of oppressors is rising, and now they're holding on to any of the things they can use. I'm going to just say it right now. I'm not oppressing anybody.
The Walt Disney Company, the biggest entertainment corporation on the planet. Like, what is she even talking about?
Yep, $200 billion corporation spending $200 million can barely put a show together over years that this thing has been in the pipeline. And she wants to say that she's oppressed. By the way, pretty actress who gets a lot of money is over here trying to lecture all these little YouTubers on what oppression looks like. She can make a phone call and get anybody banned. Who's the oppressor?
It's so weird, the oppressor language, because I remember growing up, when I was growing up in the 90s, back in the 80s, Michael Jackson was the biggest pop star on the planet. Oprah Winfrey, the most successful entertainment personality the world over. And also, didn't we... Black president, not once but twice, 2 terms.
Well, you know.
Well, that's oppression for you.
There.
That's oppression,
yes.
Obviously.
Keeping them down.
I could be wrong, and I'm supposed to be the Hollywood expert, so shame on me for not knowing this. But when I look at people who are prominent, who are African American, and I look at this song and I think, I don't remember Sidney Poitier ever once in a movie saying, "I'ma tell you." The insertion of the patois into this song,
right? Well,
it's all an act. It's all.
It is. She's a classically trained violinist, among other things. She's not in a bad neighborhood.
She has a $2 million net worth.
Her father, Mr. Stenberg, I wonder what he thinks about all this rhetoric against white people. He better be agreeing with it if he's in her circle. Otherwise, he might not be.
Oh, he's probably doing what her agents and everybody else are doing and saying, "Hey, this is the way you win in this world. So go for it, kid. You're an actor. Yeah. Act."
And now they're holding on to any of the things they can use. No, we're just responding to your ridiculousness.
Not even that. We're just calling out how awful the Acolyte is. That it's like just trash writing, trash set pieces. They're just burning money. Who knows?
We've never even brought up race.
Yeah, I will say that like race has been brought up, especially when they were pushing it as like this diversity inclusion show. But it's been brought up because like the Walt Disney Company has a program called Reimagine Tomorrow that literally has race-based quotas that are now subject to a potential EEOC complaint filed by America First Legal. Like this is stuff that's actually being brought up in a court now potentially. So that's like how we're bringing it up.
Well, I was just saying in the evaluation of the show, though, nobody's saying, oh, well, because she's a black character, that's why I hate it. Nobody has said that.
No, it's literally like the two white characters in the first two episodes. One is a crazed lunatic who has his mind being poisoned by some kind of alien creature that's over his mouth. And the other one is some guy who's like, you need to go tell the Jedi Council what you did or self-delete. And he literally self-deletes. Like, that's where we've had discussions of
it's fair
race on.
Right, because they obviously care about race. They want to pretend like they're the only people that don't care about race, but they bring race into every single conversation that they have. And if they want race to be the same as, I don't know, hair color or something like that, then go for it, whatever. But this entire idea that we need to be defined 100% by who our ancestors are, which he goes hard into that later.
Well, but they're redefining the classic legal advice about if you don't have the facts, argue the law. And if you don't have the law, argue the facts. And if you don't have the facts or the law, argue race. That's their version of that.
Yeah. This entire thing to me is just so coarse and cynical. And she's talking about how she's going to overcome it. Here you go. If you rely upon misinformation, then that tells me you afraid of the truth. Sorry, then that tells me you afraid of the truth.
No. If you rely on what I define as misinformation, that tells me you don't know jack.
Also, the context of the line, I think this must be referring to the fact that this was for promoting the hate you give as opposed to the Acolyte.
Right.
There were plenty of things said about the Acolyte that were thoroughly covered. Also, Anakin just blew up a whole Death Star. How do you think about that?
That's misinformation, Joe.
There's misinformation.
By the way, if you're having a problem figuring out who the good and the bad guys are in Star Wars, good guys don't build something and call it the Death Star. There's a simple little test you can apply for the future episodes. Death bad, life good. Film at 11.
And then the amazing choreography played over. We so bored don't blank with your discourse. We so bored don't blank with your discourse. I'm not even going to say it 12 times.
You got to do it, Jonas. Come on.
We so bored don't with your discourse. We so bored don't with your discourse. Anyways, I said it 12. The audio cut out. And now you listen.
So bored that she wrote an entire song.
And now you listen, and I'm going to tell you something fascinating. They spinning woke, bastardize it, and appropriate it. Last I recall, woke was something we created. No, ma'am. You are 20 years old, and whatever definition woke had back in the day, no, absolutely not. That is like 5 years behind us. Woke means a completely different thing. Hey, y'all, I'm going to defeat your whole argument here. Define woke.
Everything woke turns to... No, I'm joking. Not that one.
How about weaponized politeness? That's one that I go with. Their entire view of woke is basically the idea that a certain subject of society is born with an innate, perhaps imperceptible bias, and has therefore constructed all aspects of civilization to oppress others for self-interested benefit. That is the nice way to describe something as
that's
woke.
how they do it. It's virtue signaling is what you're
No, that's how I define it. I'm saying they're wrong.
No, but I'm saying that's their motivation is to make society agree with their definition. I mean,
the entire thing here is that they are trying to use the idea that someone has been oppressive in the past in order to use all of that to weaponize it, to create a society in which, their solution to racism is anti-racism. And what's the definition of anti-racism? Well, it's racism. It's because she's putting on the language here.
Exactly.
Keep an eye out for all you silly racists, and now they use it to describe anything they
Gambino.
Yeah, that's Childish Gambino. That's Donald Glover.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me translate the black.
I can't remember the last time I heard the name Gambino associated with the word zeitgeist. Call me a stick in the mud, if you will. But I'm just trying to imagine Gambino and zeitgeist.
Yeah, she's probably talking about specifically "This Is America," which is a song by Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino?
Yeah, that's his rapper name. Donald Glover. He's a hilarious comedian.
So in other words, he is so
motivated rapper.
He is so dedicated to his race that the best thing he could find to call himself was something about an Italian gangster.
It makes perfect sense to me, Lou, doesn't it?
Remind me never to eat the cannoli at his restaurant.
We need like a cipher to be delivered with this next time, or a decoder ring or something.
Oh man, it sounds like this when I wish I had that old lady from Airplane go, "Oh, excuse me, I speak John."
Yeah. Ebonics.
I like I like my coffee, right?
Yeah, she's saying that wokeness is the power of community, not fodder for your clickbait. Again, this goes back to Marxism. Whether or not she realizes it, I do think she does realize it, but she's a believer here if she is intentionally doing it.
She totally buys into it. She's indoctrinated into the whole gender ideology stuff.
Excuse me. Speaking of which, journalists, I'm looking at you. Did you forget it's your job to provide the truth? Spreading divisiveness, mining the metrics and data. Seem you gave up all your ethics for money and views.
So she's, in my opinion, she's literally calling for people at like the New York Times, Screen Rant, CBR, all of the access media to just attack people over and over and over again, call us racist, call us bigots, and just kind of parrot what she's saying here. That's what I think she's doing here.
Do you include Polygon in that? Because Polygon.
Yeah. Polygon, Inverse, Guardian, all of them, all of those access media outlets.
I'm guessing she's coming after the ones that are critical of the Acolyte and other work there, but even her allies, I don't know about all that.
Well, no, I think she's calling for them to like write more articles, like spread the narrative even more, beat you over the head with
I see.
Like, drown out everything else. Like, you need to be covering this. Why aren't you doing more of this? This is what you should be doing. Why are you allowing these bigots to control the narrative? Is basically my opinion.
Okay, that's a fair point.
And this would be an acknowledgement of the idea that they do need to control the narrative here. They're not actually looking for the free flow of information, because I'm fine about disagreement. I'm fine about two people being able to debate the issues, but they would prefer that people be deplatformed and shunned out of society.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we know these people operate this way. There's a Sci-Fi Wire article that surfaced like back in like 2015, 2016, where he literally admits that he doesn't criticize or actually express his true opinion on what he thinks because he wants to maintain access with these companies such as the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm. And then we also had just this year, Ash Parrish, she writes at The Verge, she admitted to omitting significant details about the Sweet Baby Inc. employees harassing Cabrutus Rambo and the Steam curator list and trying to get his entire Steam account shut down, which in my opinion is advocating for theft because he paid for all that stuff and they're literally trying to get this stuff taken down. She literally admitted all of that because it didn't stick to the narrative. She admits all of this in DMs that were leaked to X.
Yeah, the idea that you need to deplatform your enemies, no, that's a coward's way, and that is not the side of truth. And I can tell that the people are tired and the kids don't trust anything that they view. Well, there's hope for the kids then.
They're watching you, aren't they? Should they not trust you?
We can learn from their discernment. The future's coming, and it's always the youth. Yikes. Why don't we just get rid of the four olds while we're
the two Utes. The what? The Utes.
Culture. When you see someone who is espousing all this language of oppression, and they're talking about the youth being the future, and we can learn from the discernment of children, what does that sound like to you?
It sounds like I'm like in the 50s listening to Chinese Cultural Revolution talk to me.
Yeah. This is Maoism right here, straight up.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, when we're talking supposed counter-revolutionary stuff, this is where it gets dangerous. Young people are stupid. They don't know where all of this leads. And finally here, we end with, my sis said, don't let it get to your spirit, but I'm sick and tired of suppressing my rage. 400 years of taking their...
bored.
Yeah, this is the beautiful statement here at the end, because this is taking the crown from climate change. To compartmentalize like my ancestors had to encage. If you don't confront the pain that you live with, it will manifest as addiction, disease, and hate. I've seen infection, repression will give you, I'm not going to be the next one sent to an early grave. She's literally saying that racism, not an action taken by a racist person, but the racism itself actually harms people.
Well, but she's got a prescription. Take 2 of these songs and call me in the morning.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, look at all those words. Well, this explains why she was handed the script to the Acolyte, read it, and said, that's Shakespeare. Only, not that white guy. And where do I go to sign up? I'm ready, because I know good writing when I see it. Not at all.
That was a highlight from our live stream on That Park Place, where the full stream can be accessed by members. So what do you think about the lyrics of this song? Does the messaging resonate with you personally? Or is this just ideological drivel delivered in the same haphazard manner that the choreography was? And what do you think of the speculation that this might have been bait to take down any videos that featured hers? Perhaps we were ahead of that curve. Please let us know in the comments below. Like this video if you did like this video. Share us out, as it helps us out tremendously against the YouTube algorithm. And thank you so much for watching. 2-3, PO. Please comment, like, and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to That Park Place Podcasts online. your source for exclusive content and highlights from WDW Pro, The Pro Show, and That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.